where, I'll hop on here. You guys ask me, anything you want, AMA style. And then we also just kind of, chat about crypto or glider or literally, anything you guys want to talk about. And I'm kind of just here, I'll guide the conversation, that sort of thing. How's everyone doing today? Feeling good? Good weekend last weekend? Good week coming up? It's good to see all your familiar faces in here. And congrats to everyone who, made it to the community highlight last week. Um, if you didn't make it, obviously like, we still know who you are and we'll get you on there soon enough. Like, we see you're consistent and stuff. But we're gonna try to run that every week. And those people that are getting recognized in those are, people that the team has seen, me and the devs and like has been around for a while. And it definitely is not going unnoticed. So yeah, keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing because y'all are doing great. David, I'm doing pretty good actually. I have a bit of a cough, so you might hear me coughing a little bit, but pretty good. Crypto market's been a little rough recently, as I'm sure you guys have seen. What's up, Quang? One question I did want to ask though, what are your guys' biggest holdings? What are you guys, what are you guys maxis on? What's the biggest parts of your wallets? So I want to look at some more coins. I want to kind of explore a couple new coins. And if you guys have any suggestions, like I'll take a look. ETH, of course, classic. By the way, Asher, what's your personal take on the market? Look for the next year. Do you think we'll see a bearish trend? Honestly, this is it's really hard because we really haven't seen. Let me open my screen actually. One sec. Can you guys see my screen there? Sweet. Okay, so it's been really hard to know what the market's going to do recently. Because if we just look at Bitcoin, for example, actually go to a clean chart. Okay, I actually have some stuff here. Okay, sweet. So, I think these are the halvings. Yeah, okay. So what we're looking at here, this is one of the charts I did a while ago. But as you can see, yeah, I'll change it to logarithmic. So right now we're in a logarithmic chart, which means that these values on the right side, they scale. Oh, too small. I'll make it a little bigger. Is that better? I'll try to keep it as big as I can, actually. I totally forgot about that. So each of these blue lines is the halving, right? With Bitcoin, that's where the supply gets reduced by half. So, emissions reduce, sell pressure reduces. And it's honestly like bullish long term, right? And that's kind of how Bitcoin works. Every 4 years, it halves its supply being emitted, and then, it continues for the next 4 years. As you can see, we usually have like a bit of a run up before the halving, and then after the halving is when we really go parabolic. And for comparison, this is a 8,000% gain, right? So it might look small, but it's definitely not, right? And as you can see here, we kind of peak, about a year after the halving, and then we kind of come down, right? And then we have a little bit of a run up before, we go parabolic right after, then we come down a bit, and then run up before, parabolic, and then we come down, right? And as you can see here, we had a bit of a run up before, right? So this was from, the 18K, 15K bottom. We ran up, ran to 60. Saw a little bit of a pullback here, right? And now I'm waiting for that parabolic push, right? As this chart looks like, it's not crazy to say it's going to go to 250K, which is just right here, right? So I'm really looking for like a bit of like the gains have been good. Yeah, Bitcoin's at 105K. It's awesome. But it's like it's nothing compared to anything we've seen these last cycles. But something also to consider is that the cycle is smoothing, right? It's not going to stay as parabolic forever. It's not going to be as you know, it's not going to be as volatile as forever. So you can see like, massive gains in the start and then massive gains the year after. And then you can see it's like slightly smaller gains, right? And then slightly smaller. And now, slightly smaller. I still think that, 250K is definitely in the cards, but I don't think we're going to like a million this cycle, right? And I think we're going to need to see another bit of a pullback leading up to the halving, right? We'll see another halving and then another run, which is like that 4-year cycle that you're so used to seeing. So, long story short, to answer your question, IO, I think we still have some more time to run up this cycle. I think 250K is not out of the cards. I think 200K is doable too. I think we'll definitely see 150, but you don't want to take my word for it. But yeah, that's kind of the way I think about it. I think about it in like macro cycles, where it's like it's gonna follow like basically a playbook every 4 years. Um, I think like long term Bitcoin, it could go 10 mil, whatever. Like I don't know like what the fucking bull cases were. I don't know if you guys watch a lot of Michael Saylor, but he's great at explaining it. And he has like some absurd like $10 million Bitcoin bull cases. Which like it might happen. Another 100x from here would be super nice. But yeah. Anyways, I saw another coin that I wanted to check out. Jake is ZKJ. Oh, Polyhedra. I've actually. Oh, fuck. What happened with this? Oh my god. Holy cow. Did the team dump or something? Yeah, Bitcoin Dom. Yeah, yeah. Bitcoin Dominance is one that I've actually tracked a lot too. Um, it's actually absurd how high we are with Bitcoin at 101K or 105K. Here, this chart's a little bit gross, but I'll try to show you. Let me just delete a bunch of stuff. I don't need all this. Okay, this is really the biggest thing to look at here is this sort of structure. So for those who don't know, Bitcoin dominance, basically this is how much money is in Bitcoin compared to the total market, right? So if Bitcoin's doing really well and the rest of the market's like doing bad, this is going to go up. The rest of the market's doing better than Bitcoin, this is going to go down because money is moving out of Bitcoin into other coins. So what it means when this is really high is that there's a ton of money in Bitcoin and there's not that much money in alts, right? So when this goes down, like this crazy move here, when it went from 75 to 40, this was a ton. This was billions of dollars going from Bitcoin to altcoins, right? And that's what we call an alt season. This is also like a great example of an alt season. You can see fucking gotta stop swearing. I'm sorry guys, I apologize. You can see we had a massive dump of Bitcoin dominance. Doesn't mean Bitcoin's going down. It just means money is moving out of Bitcoin into other things. So if we saw a pretty big pullback down to here, that's when we'd really see like altcoins, do multiple X's, do like, we see Solana at 1,000, that sort of thing. But until this keeps like trending up, we're just going to see altcoins dying, like we've seen for the last like year or so, or last couple months. And we're going to see Bitcoin, just staying steady. So personally, I'm like an altcoin investor. I like, having money in altcoins. So I'm looking for Bitcoin to come down, maybe test this blue level again at like 40%. And that would be massive for my portfolio. But I'm just kind of, keeping an eye on that. Let's say we enter a bear market again. Well, how would GliderFi stay resilient and keep things moving forward? Well, the thing with the glider model is we're not reliant on market moves. We're just reliant on people, using our platform. So we take fees from you holding money in our platform. So as long as people still have money in their platform during the bear market, then we're still going to be, generating fees, which means we're still able to continue on. And for you guys, Glider is probably the best place to be in the bear market because I find a lot of people, the way they do it is they overtrade, right? they're losing money because like the whole market's going down, and they're always looking for like the next opportunity to like win it back, right? Think a casino. If you're losing money, you're gonna want to like put more down to win it all back, which is super unhealthy, but it's just the way it goes, right? So with Glider, you're not going to be over trading because your money is going to be in a portfolio that you set and you can just forget about, right? You're not going to be, you know, you're not going to be looking for that next opportunity because your money's safe. You're sticking to your strategy. So honestly, Glider is probably the best bear market deterrent, especially if when we get yield going. You're going to be able to generate yield on your assets within Glider. So for a bear market, you can just hold your Bitcoin, your cash, and you can be generating yield on both of them. So you're making 7-10% returns for doing nothing in the bear market, just setting yourself up for the next bull market. Yeah, I am a bit of a degen trader. I cannot lie. It's hard to imagine what the price will be if Trump and other countries decide to make a Bitcoin reserve currency. Yeah, like if government adoption's been coming slowly, but like every year, I swear it's gonna ramp up more and more. It's so interesting to see, especially with Trump in office. Like, we'll see what he actually does because right now he's just deporting a bunch of people, unfortunately. But I mean, people like Michael Saylor and like Elon Musk that are super bullish Bitcoin and like are vocal about it is like it's so good for us in the space. What's up, BTTB? Classic, brother. Yo, Leo, thanks for stopping in, brother. I'm glad you guys likes the vibes. Anyway, do you guys have any other coins you want me to look at? Any sort of altcoins, meme coins? Any more questions about the market? Obviously, like this is all not financial advice. This is the way that I've been thinking about it. I've been in crypto since 2020, I think. So 5 years, almost 6 years now. I think soon it's gonna be a massive dump because of geopolitical situations. Yeah, the war is definitely not great, but this is pretty interesting because like the idea with a war should make crypto go up, right? Because the idea is like war. The reason that stocks dump when there's a war is because people think the economy is going to collapse, right? They're going to be spending so much money on the war. They're not going to have much money to support the local economy, and then the stocks are going to do bad because they're not getting their government money because all the money is being focused on the war, right? So it makes sense for stocks to dump. And the Great Depression was like a very good indicator of that. We spent too much money on the war, couldn't sustain ourselves after. But with crypto, it should be the opposite, right? The fact is that it's not linked to a central government, which means if you want to kind of avoid your government messing up and spending a ton of money on war and like ruining your economy, then just buy Bitcoin because Bitcoin's going to keep going up no matter what your little economy does. But there's also the other side where it's like all these crypto coins are so closely related to the stock market because people have a portfolio on both, right? And crypto becomes your riskiest asset. So when you're scared of the market or anything, you're always going to sell your riskiest asset first, right? So crypto always goes first, usually before stocks if there's fear. But it's really interesting. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out with I guess the war going on in the Middle East. But I mean, the thing to think about is always Bitcoin in the long term is always going to be king, and that's really important. So geopolitical situations are interesting to watch, but as long as you're stacking your Bitcoin, like you'll always be fine. It's kind of like just a long term hedge. What's your personal opinion on the current and best token allocation strategy? And give us a quick reason why you think so. This market is tough because typically I'd recommend, or I'd personally be trading more altcoin heavy, right? Where I'd have more than half my portfolio in altcoins. But, this last year didn't seem to work out that well with Bitcoin, gaining dominance as you can see in this chart here. And, altcoins doing pretty bad. So I think a safe one always to do a really good baseline is 50% Bitcoin, 25% cash, and then 25% anything else, altcoins, meme coins, whatever you want to do, right? Having that cash there in case, markets go down or, if you want to buy anything is always great. Nice thoughts. Probably works that way. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. In your opinion, will the interest in memes and this narrative ever end, or is it already on a perfect basis? Well, I think we've already seen a big decline in memes and popularity. Like if you remember a couple months back, all before the Trump stuff, that was the craziest meme run we've ever seen, right? And since then, it's already quieted down a lot. At least for my personal like ecosystem, like I have not been trading memes as much as I thought of. And I think this is a pretty healthy balance right now, right? There's meme coins that are running. You know, you can go to the meme coin casino and you can gamble and you can try to make life changing money, but it's not the only thing you're hearing about, which is really good. For a while, it was like an unhealthy level where the only thing anyone was investing in was meme coins, right? People were having like meme folios and like people like oh, I forget his name, crazy influencer guy who had like a couple 100 million in memes. That was like the only thing everyone was talking about, right? And that was pretty unhealthy for the market. But now it's toned down. You know, you still have an option to invest in memes, and meme coins are still doing well, but it's not the only thing you're seeing. Isn't crypto riskier and more volatile? At the same time, Bitcoin is considered altcoin gold, digital gold. I think it's a good question actually. I think Bitcoin needs to be considered differently from the rest of the crypto market. And once people kind of accept that, and they're like, okay, Bitcoin is digital gold, and then everything else is crypto, right? Everything else is this like risky, volatile assets that are, scary. And I think that'll move the space forward a lot and like Bitcoin forward a lot because Bitcoin is just in a league of its own in terms of market cap and holders and like literally every aspect. And it's just like the fact that it's actually decentralized and Nakamoto's or Satoshi's dead, is it makes it so different, right? It's not like these coins that have companies running them and that have these like organizations behind them trying to pump them. So I think Bitcoin needs to be treated differently and thought about differently, and then the space is going to accelerate. I think. What's up, Moon? How you doing, brother? Can I try on Dex? What do you mean, virus? I'm not sure what you mean. Can I try on Dex? Um, oh, Murad. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's him. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. He ruined himself, dude. Like he had such a fat portfolio and promised he was never gonna sell, and his portfolio is like dead now. What do you think about this allocation? Yeah, where is Turk? Surprised he's not in here actually. 70% Bitcoin, 5% cash, and 25% altcoins. Putting all my funds into that. Yeah, that's pretty good. The cash allocation is small, but altcoins are pretty low right now, so it's not like you're gonna get much of a better entry on them. I would maybe do 10% cash and 65% Bitcoin. Just in case we see Bitcoin back at 80K or something, you can scoop up some more for cheap. But 5% cash is also pretty solid. It's better than no cash. Turk is hilarious. Yeah, you can tell you he's not in Turkey right now, but he's probably just grinding his day job. How long is your experience? I've been in the space for about 5 years, 5.5 years now. Um, so got in at 2020. I guess in the near future, everything will be tokenized on chain like oil, real estate stocks. When that happens, it's gonna be a totally different world, in my opinion. We'll be able to trade not just coins, we'll be able to trade apartment. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting niche in crypto that I want to explore more. Um, RWAs, like real world assets, is basically what you're talking about there, right? Where you can tokenize everything, you can trade everything on chain. And we're getting there pretty quickly. Like BlackRock, I'm not sure if you're familiar, they're like the biggest asset manager in the world. They've been tokenizing a ton of stuff, right? They're actually like, quietly in the background, like tokenizing everything. And they're gonna be a massive player in that, which is gonna be really interesting. But you can also you can trade real estate already on Parcel, right? It's basically just like futures of each market. So it's not like you're actually buying a house, but you're just speculating on whether the market's going to go up or down. So that's really interesting. And there's a lot of really cool examples already coming out. One day there's going to be a project that comes out that absolutely nails it, and everyone's going to accept it as the RWA play, and it's going to rip to 100 billion. And that's like Hyperliquid, right? There's a ton of different perpetuals, dexes, and swaps, and like, you know, Hyperliquid didn't really do anything crazy. They didn't invent something new, but they just perfected something that needed to be perfected really badly, and everyone kind of hopped on board. And now Hyperliquid is the most talked about coin ever, and it's doing so well, right? So once we can kind of get a Hyperliquid for RWAs, it's going to be a whole different game we're talking about, and I'm excited for it because I love RWAs, and that's a really cool, part of crypto for me. What do you think of Bybit's DEX by Real? Does it make sense for major exchange to make its own DEX? I'm actually not too sure what buy real is. Actually, I've never heard of that. Maybe I'm a little bit tapped out. They've used Dex Exchange on Solana. Oh, Target. Wow, Solana based Dex. I think it's really interesting. I do think that centralized exchanges should have decentralized exchanges, right? Because the idea with crypto is you want people on chain, right? And when they're on a centralized exchange, they're not on chain. They don't have a wallet. They're not actually holding their assets. So having a decentralized exchange that people can go to, because if they trust Bybit, they're going to trust Bybit's DEX rather than Jupiter. You know what I mean? So it's like a trust and brand thing. Plus, I think a lot more people are going decentralized because the tools on chain are becoming better and better, right? You don't need a centralized exchange for anything, right? Before, you needed to have like good perpetuals and good leverage trading. And you could get yield and you could get a bunch of tokens. But now you can get better perpetuals on chain. You can get more tokens. You can have more freedom. You can get better yield. Everything is better on chain now. So these centralized exchanges need to move away from their centralized exchange model and take advantage of what they do best, which is exchanges, and they need to do it decentralized. Because I'm not sure if you guys I haven't seen much data, but decentralized exchanges make so much money. It's actually unreal. Let me pull up some charts actually. So I think it's interesting. I think a lot of sexes will start making something decentralized. So either exchanges or um, chains like, Kraken's Ink chain. I think a lot of more centralized exchanges are going to be going there. If I go to sectors, dexes. So, um, okay, so one thing to note here, this is the volume of all the dexes, all the biggest dexes in crypto. This blue one here, this is Pancake Swap, which is weird because Pancake Swap shouldn't be doing this much volume. And I'm 90% sure that it's like botted, and people are wash trading meme coins on it. So we're just gonna ignore that for now. But let's look at Uniswap and Radium, right? They're doing about, um, you know, Uniswap's doing 2 billion, Radium's doing 800 million a day. Um, it's somewhere between $2 and $1 billion of volume every day, except for this day where Radium did $13 billion of volume in one day. That is actually unreal. And if they charge a fee on every one of those days, let's pull up Radium specifically. Let's put in. Oh wait, let's put in fees. So every day, Radium is pulling in about 700, 600K, from like 500K to like 2.4 million in fees every day. That is unheard of for a centralized exchange, right? Or actually, I don't know, exchanges might be making that much, but DEX models are incredibly profitable because once you're set up and once you have everything running and you become one of the top DEXs, you're getting all the volume from the chain, which is super interesting. So I think a lot more companies are going to be going that direction. I'm excited that people like Hyperliquid so much. It's really interesting. I actually don't have any, but I need some. Um, it's very interesting though. It's a really interesting model. Yeah, I don't know about Hyperliquid being the next Bitcoin, but it could be the next like Solana or maybe even Ethereum. I don't know. We'll see how the next couple months go. It's still very, very new. Um, what's your take on Solana? You think it can hit a new all-time high or not? I think it can. I'm a big Solana guy. I love Solana. But the last run was really crazy, right? We had a lot of crazy, you know, we had a lot of crazy like variables, right? Trump launching a coin, all these coins going to billions of dollars like instantly, and there was a lot of manipulation in the meme coin scene, kind of behind the smoke screen, right? That Hayden Davis guy, like he was manipulating every coin, manipulated Trump, manipulated like Melania, manipulated like a bunch of stuff, right? And that was all so fake and so you know it was just like manipulated. It wasn't real, right? So Solana's price to 250 was kind of like that as well. Like we had all this like fake volume and all these fake fees, and I mean it was real fees, but it's like it wasn't real people doing it. You know what I mean? So like the real users, I think probably put Solana to like 150 to 200, which is kind of where we're at now. So I think it could still hit a new all-time high, but we either need like a major catalyst, like I don't know, Putin launching a coin or something. Or we need like more organic, slow growth that's not meme coin related. But Solana has one of the best DeFi ecosystems by far, in my opinion. It's undefeated. Like being able to swap without worrying about gas fees, having like literally every tool at your disposal on Solana. Like Solana is a perfectly well built out ecosystem to be trading on as a trader, right? So that's where I live. That's where I hold most of my money is on Solana. It's cheap. They have everything. It's reliable. These days, it used to go out, but now it doesn't. So I think all time high could come. It just might take a little bit of time. I've lost many times Solana meme story on Deck Screener. I mean, Deck Screener is definitely the trenches of the trenches. Solana has so much more to offer than meme coins. Like if you go to Jupiter or Drift or Camino, these are platforms with a suite of tools that are going to help you invest so well. Really, BTTB, you don't think Solana will make an all-time high? I mean, if you give it enough time and the market keeps growing, it's bound to hit an all-time high at some point. But honestly, I'm kind of bullish. I'm kind of bearish ETH. Um, I think it's very critical infrastructure for crypto, but it's just a settlement layer, right? It's where all these L2s and L3s settle their transactions because it's has the most funds, it's the most reliable, has the most validators. Um, but it's just not practical to be living on and trading on. The fees are too high. That's pretty much it. It's just gas fees. So like, why would I trade on Ethereum when I can just trade on Base, right? But I mean, Ethereum is still getting some stuff from that, but it's like it's more Base tokens that are going to be winning from people living on Base. Anyways, I think I'm going too slow. I'm gonna scroll down a lot. I'm sorry if I missed one of your messages, but I'm just gonna go straight to the bottom of the chat so I can stay caught up. If you just add LP into Sol, you earn a ton of money. My friend made a ton of money. Yeah, no, LPing is an excellent way to hold your money. Um, it's really really interesting. If you don't know what you're doing, you can lose a lot. It's pretty like technically tricky. But once you understand it and know what you're doing, like it's an amazing way to generate fees and like generate profit without selling any of your token. You any plans for how you're gonna allocate your funds next year? Actually, I've just consolidated my entire portfolio. I put it into one wallet. I sold everything, and I'm gonna be, reallocating everything soon. So I'm completely restarting my portfolio. Um, So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do next, actually. That's kind of why I wanted to talk to you guys and see what coins you were looking at. Because I wanted to, get some alpha from you guys and see what the degens were actually working on. When I actually put my portfolio together and I come up with some like good allocations, I'll let you know. But yeah, not sure right now. Right now, I'm pretty much fully in cash. DYDX. Okay, it's perpetuals, right? Is now the right time to invest? If you don't have any money in the space, I think putting a little bit into some meme or some altcoins would be good because they're pretty low right now. Um, but if you already have money in the space, I wouldn't add more. But it's hard to say. Like, don't take any of this as like hardcore financial advice. This is literally just me talking out of my butt. Just saying whatever I want. DYDX. What? Oh, wow, this is an ugly chart. Let me see if they're on Artemis. Oh, nice. Yeah, it is a perpetuals exchange. Um, this is interesting. It's doing like decent volume, but let's see their fees. Like the thing is, okay, so something like this is interesting. This is a good perpetuals exchange. They're getting somewhere between 100 million to 300 million in volume every day, which is great. That's a lot. But they're only generating like 60K to like 17K a day compared to something that's like, Radium that's generating $600,000 a day is it's interesting because these are good numbers for how small it is at 400 mil. But why would I use DYDX if I couldn't just go use Hyperliquid or Radium, right? So it's like these smaller tokens will have a day that they're going to pump ridiculous, but long term, I'd rather use the bigger dexes that are going to stick around for longer and gain more traction. So they're kind of fighting in a market that's being dominated really heavily by a couple players right now, but it could still be interesting. The chart doesn't look too great though. Down always is not great. And like DeFi type tokens, Aave and Comp. Aave is a really interesting one. I think a narrative that's going to heat up a lot soon, or is going to start heating up, is stable coins, right? I'm not sure if you guys are big into stocks, but Circle, the issuer of USDC, went public, and their IPO was 25 times oversubscribed, which means people filled it 25 times more than it should have been, and they still pumped crazy off launch. Um, so tokens like Athena, which is like a really big stablecoin issuer, that's going to be a really interesting play for this next year. That's definitely one that I'm going to be buying with my new portfolio. Has on-chain analysis review of activity on wallets lost its relevance? Given that many people are now manipulating creating. Yeah, that's actually a good point, Johnny. On-chain analysis has become so hard, right? It was hard kind of before just reading the chain and like tracking money, but like now there's so many tools to like dupe wallets and like create like 1,000 wallets in a second and like move all your money around them. Like for me, as like an average trader, it's lost pretty much all value, right? But I'll still read a report of someone smarter doing it and like uncovering something and like it's still interesting, but you know, um I don't do it personally. I look more analytics, right? So, revenue and fees and volume and price to market cap and all that sort of stuff. Let's see what else we got. Free alpha. Oh, that is some alpha. These are cash cows. Oh fuck. I gotta stop swearing. I'm so sorry. Um I love this. I love revenue generating protocols. Monthly fees. Can you send a link to this, Dev? I want to sort by fees and stuff. That is some sexy alpha. Could you see that when I pulled that up on my screen? I'm not sure. Right now, actually, I'm not holding any meme coins IO. Totally meme coinless. Nothing really has caught my eye recently, which is unfortunate. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna save this. Um, I'll show you guys one trade I'm working on right now, actually. So Eigenlayer. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but they're a restaking protocol on Ethereum. And they launched an announcement this morning that said they have this new cloud um feature, or like um they're just like building like a cloud, right? So it's like a fully decentralized cloud. So kind of does what like AWS or Google Cloud would have done for crypto projects, but now it's like decentralized, right? And that's really interesting. So I opened up a long at 1.2. I'm targeting like 1.7-ish to like the top of this little peak there. My liquidation price is 1.06. And usually I would do a stop loss, but it's not that much capital that I'm going to be losing. And I would want my stop loss near my liquidation anyway. So, I'm just going to let it liquidate if it does. But even if it goes to 1.7, I might not even sell. If it breaks out of here with like, decent speed and strength, I'll probably just hold the position open for a while. But this is what I'm looking at here. So at the bottom, we have a bit of a box, right? So this area has been acting as support for a while. Yeah, as you can see, bounced off it here, bounced off it here, bounced off it here, bounced off it here, bounced off it here. And then we kind of faked out below. But as you can see, we got bought back up really hard. Um, there's this candle here that, we came down here, but it went right back up really quickly. This is called the bullish hammer candle, I think. Um, but anyways, we're kind of at the bottom of this range. And, this is a really nice like accumulation zone where it just goes sideways pretty perfectly for a while. So a breakout of this to the upside could be massive. Like let's go a little larger. Um, I genuinely think a breakout of this could bring us back to like all-time high, $5 sort of thing, which would be, pretty insane. So that's kind of position I'm in right now, watching Eigenlayer today. Yeah. Morpho, I've definitely heard about quite a bit. Let me check out the chart. Wow, the chart looks the same as Eigenlayer. That's crazy. What is Morpho though? I actually don't remember. Oh, let's check it out. Let's see what's up. What's with you on Titcoin? I'm not even sure what Titcoin is. I'm assuming it's on Dex Screener. Oh, I have seen this one. Honestly, a pretty good meme. Oh wow, it was almost at 100 mil. This actually doesn't look like a bad chart. We're kind of coming back to this area here. This could just like accumulate forever kind of at this level. But if we see a run up again, it could be pretty interesting. The fact that it's this low and it's still at 14 mil is interesting. So there's a 20% holder though, which is a little scary. They're holding $2.8 million worth. It's absurd. Bowl maps is good though. Now, this could be an interesting buy. Is this the dev? Did they say anything about like holding 20% of the supply for like, marketing or anything like that? They have 6 billion in deposits. I don't want to. Okay, so yeah, it's just boring lending protocol. But this one I would need to dig into the metrics more to compare it to something like Aave or Pendle or something. Because these borrowing lending platforms, all that matters is their numbers, right? So how much money they're making, how much money in deposits they have, that sort of thing. Because they're all the same thing. You know what I mean? Like they all have the same markets. S- Whoa. Oh, never mind. Okay, great. 6 billion in TVL is pretty impressive though. Base Polygon Unichain. Plume. Oh, wow, interesting. This actually does look pretty cool. I'm gonna look into this more. Yeah, not touching any meme coins where a holder owns more than 15% is honestly a pretty good call. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap this up here. This is actually a really productive session. I appreciate you guys, engaging so much. Um, actually chatting. Like that really makes it important for these sort of things. Like if I'm just up here yapping for 45 minutes and no one's actually talking back, it gets pretty awkward. So I appreciate it. And yeah, like if you guys wanna what do you guys think? Is a more structured um sort of glider related question answer better, or do you like kind of just overall crypto, chat about whatever sort of thing more? Or would you rather I bring people on and like interview them in a more structured manner where like you guys get like a short period to ask questions, but it's mostly like just like an interview? What do you guys think about those? Give me all your feedback, literally everything you can think of. Any sort of feedback on the oh wait, I just didn't scroll, my bad. W and 10, thanks guys. Um Anyway, with Brian, that will be coming soon. It might be post launch, but we'll see if we can get him on. Very, very busy guy. Um, Sweet. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed so much. I really enjoy this too. Like, I can talk about crypto for hours. So um, yeah. I mean, always happy to do these. I'll be back next Tuesday. If you guys have topics or things you want me to chat about, or literally any feedback, feel free to ping me in the chat. Ping any of the mods as well. They can kind of relay to me, and we'll set up a good topic for tomorrow. AI sector, I just don't know enough about it to really comment. Tau and FET are interesting, but I think there's going to be cooler coins coming soon. Yeah, no worries. Dark Chain Queen, Bazaar. Um, Joyesh, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. It's a really good time. Adewale. Is that how you say your name? I always see you in here, but I'm not sure how to say your name. Adewale? Is that how you say it? Oh, also, does anyone in here still need an invite code to the Glider platform? Yeah, okay. Zenith's on it. He's got it handled. No worries, Moon. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys. All right, we'll wrap it up here. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.